So first things first, nice thing about Dedoose is that they offer a free 1-month sign up, no payment information required, which is a nice change from some websites. So just create your username and your email, that's the only thing necessary. And then we'll log it. Oh shoot, okay. Forgot I had to do this on my computer.
Or is it material for individual or group?
It is material for individual. Yeah. And then you will have to. I think it's this. Okay. And then you will have to go to Dedoose, and whenever, are you guys ready to log in?
What file are we supposed to download? Like,
Oh, it's, okay, so it's Dedoose practice data is where the tiny URL took you. And then you want the material for individual practice and download all 4 of these. And did everybody, okay, so do we have the files downloaded? Okay, have you guys created your Dedoose account?
Not yet.
Okay, so that's the next step.
Now it's only on view only. So should I ask for access or should I just keep it open?
For the drive,
Yeah.
were you able to download the P?
Yes.
So long as you can download them, that's all you need.
Ah, okay. So I can still download. Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't have your payment information, so.
It doesn't
Right.
credit card.
Yeah. It won't ask you for that information until after your 3-month trial is up. Yeah. And then,
It's taking a while for it to process.
Yeah.
That to be yesterday too.
no worries. good? Okay. So next we're going to go to the login page. It will redirect you first probably and ask you to allow Flash and JavaScript. The way to do that is to go up here to the lock view site information and then right click to Flash and JavaScript. Click on this one. And if that doesn't pop up, click on Site Settings. And that'll take you to this page here. Yes. And make sure that JavaScript and Flash are allowed. Everyone's good? Okay. All right, cool. So next we will, no, that's not the one. There we go. That's weird. Okay. We will log in and you should see a page like this. And this is under the Projects tab here. Oh, it is, yeah. It's at the very end of the screen after the back arrow. Sure. Yeah, there you go. So click on the Projects tab. Go to the plus sign to add a new project. These articles that you downloaded, the text files, they are talking about Trump and the decision to end the Dreamers Act or executive order. So title it something like DACA project. And then add a brief description for yourself, self-reference. And you can encrypt projects on Dedoose if you need to. Obviously, this is not something we need to encrypt. Okay, is everyone with me? Yes?
Enable encryption.
You don't have to, but that's just a feature Dedoose offers. Okay.
And then we upload the files.
Yes, so the next thing we'll do is go to media, and you can just directly import text, because those were text.txt documents that we had. They do allow you to upload more than one at a time, so you can just shift and highlight all of them. Open. Okay. Does everybody have the documents? Just the TXT files only. Okay. So the next thing we'll do is go and create descriptors for our data. Okay, so we will go to the descriptors tab. And this is just a good way that Dedoose organizes your files. So the first thing we'll do, we'll create a new field. And, hold on. Double check something. Oh, okay, so actually to import, so you can create a new field for your descriptors, or you can just directly import data. So this is where we're going to import, okay, so first I guess we have to do, okay, so title it, I think ID, sorry, this is something I didn't verify before. So just title it ID and submit. Make sure. Okay, and so then you're going to import your descriptor from the Excel sheet. Okay.
Hey Laura, can you explain that step one more time?
Yeah, and honestly, it didn't.
Wait, so
Yeah, okay. So, sorry, cancel this one. Just, if you did that, just delete it. And instead we will,
Delete the import we just did?
yeah. Delete descriptors. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, in this case, we'll just copy this information into that. So we'll do ID as a field, we'll do media name as a field, type of media, publication date, political view, and section.
And they're all text, correct?
They will all be, yes. Actually, no. So I'll show you first, we have, edit the ID. Okay, let me reload the page, because I think it messed up. Okay, thank you for your patience, everyone. Back to descriptors. Type ID, false. Okay, so we still have the IDs, and then we'll create media names. So we have Washington Post, Fox News, and USA Today. So the title becomes, yes.
Oh, sorry, where do you go?
Okay, so we are under descriptors, and then this side here where it says set fields.
Okay, I don't have that.
You don't?
Yeah. Close there.
Does everybody else have the set fields option?
Bar.
Okay.
Right there is descriptors.
For IDs though,
And
wouldn't
then
that be number,
set
not text?
fields. Okay, so it
Yep,
looks like you
it should be.
have those set.
For,
Okay, so
all
it's
of
because I imported the...
No, okay. So the rest of them will be option list.
So you can just wait for now for just the rest of what you're
So
doing.
media,
Yeah, you're all
publication date, political view,
That's right.
we have to add those, right?
We'll add all of them, yeah. So the first one we'll do is media name, which is an option list. So the first option is, sorry, Washington Post. Second option is Fox News. And the last option is USA Today. Add and submit. So for this one, let me see if I can edit. Okay, let's delete that because I messed that one up. Okay, so ID, I got that wrong in the first place. ID, you enter it. Field type is number. And then submit. Okay? Next descriptor is going to be type of media. And that one we can just choose text because they're all the same. If we had other versions, we could make it an option list and type in the different things. So it's just, oh, sorry, actually, I guess we should keep that an option list. Okay,
Type of media.
type of media, yeah, and they're all electronic news. Paper. Okay. And I guess a podcast could be a second option, but none of ours match that. Okay. Submit. Next, we have the publication date. Which is a date and time, and political view, which will also be an option field or option list. We have center, center conservative, and center liberal. And last we have section. Power integration and news. And submit. Okay. So, let me see here. Have our media, make sure that this is the way to do it. Okay, so we went to the media tab. And then we clicked on descriptor, which should, at this point, should say 0 for all of them. Click on that, and then down here to create and link descriptor. So we did Fox News, ID type should be +1. Type of media, electronic newspaper. Publication date is 9/5/2017. November 5th, 2017. Political view, center conservative. And the section was immigration. And so that aligned our media to all of our descriptors and field sets. Does that make sense? So we'll do that for all 3 of them.
Yeah, I couldn't click to add descriptor.
Yeah, it's the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah.
There's no
So
there.
click on the red box.
Except I actually totally messed that
And
up.
then the bottom right-hand
Okay,
corner.
I couldn't add, okay.
Yes.
There you go.
It's just, okay.
Okay, so click on Washington Post. And then we go down to the right-hand box that says create and link descriptor. Here, I'll go to the small screen again. Right here. Okay, so we're in Washington Post. So you identify the media name, assign an ID, type of media. Washington Post was published on the 13th of September 2017. Political view is center liberal. And the section was power. Is everybody with me there? No judgment? Okay. Okay, so submit, and that officially links Washington Post.
Do you have to unlink it before you add it?
So that one, sorry, I actually messed that one up
You just
first.
have to exit out of the thing.
Yeah.
like, And then you just click on the next one on the.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like
Can you-
next one part,
And then,
yeah. Then it's just the next one.
Yeah.
got it.
So USA Today is the last one to do. Yes.
Okay, I think I have USA Today twice. What I do.
USA Today Twice is uploaded as a document, or USA Today Twice is uploaded as a descriptor?
As a descriptor, it's linked. Maybe I just unlink it.
Yeah.
And then it's still there. Yeah, delete it.
Okay.
Delete it, okay.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good. descriptors. So you go here, and you add them all through here. And then edit this one. So what exactly do you need? Okay. Field options. So based on, yes. So based on what's in here. Thing, Washington Post. Okay.
Does it matter the ID? The ID has to match the Excel sheet.
No, this Excel sheet just contains all of the pre-assigned descriptors. Ideally, the Excel sheet should have loaded directly into the descriptors. Yeah, but if that doesn't work, now you know how to submit it manually. Yeah. Okay. So has everybody linked their media with their descriptors? Okay, I'll let you guys finish doing that.
You can't manually input the date. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, like you can't just type it?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I don't know. This isn't, I think they could probably stand
Not
to.
very user.
Yes, I think they could definitely increase the user friendliness of this interface, but hopefully they will soon. I don't know. I do have to say, one girl who graduated back in the spring already sent META Lab an email like 2 weeks into the semester asking how to use this software specifically. So it very well could come in handy to know these like basic skills in the workplace. Is there anything I can do? Do you want me to go over how to insert descriptors or link the documents again?
Laura, can you talk about, if possible, where the sections came from, like immigration, power, and news?
Yes, like how I created those options, or?
Yeah, or like what the reasoning behind those options is.
Yeah, okay, so I believe these came from literally the section of the newspaper, because these are the political, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I was just curious about like if you kind of put your own spin, or if they just came from the section of the paper.
It literally refers to what section of the newspaper these each were found in. And that'll be interesting whenever we go back to analyze how the section of the newspaper relates to the codes that you guys will choose to analyze this data. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Laura, can you go back to your descriptors and say, yeah, that.
Okay.
We're just having media.
And then if you need to edit anything that you did in creating these, oops, no, that's not what I meant to do. You can directly just double click on the descriptor itself, and then you can pull up and edit it if you need to. Does that help?
Yeah, we're just having a problem with media.
Okay, so click on descriptors here. And then, yeah. Yeah. There you go. No, you're good. Okay, is everybody linked to their individual, to the specific descriptors now? Okay. Looks like everybody else is there, so we will Just about everybody else is there. Okay, so the next step before you start the analysis is to create codes. This is an interesting or useful, I mean, that's the whole point of qualitative analysis software, right? Is that you can do individual coding for qualitative data. So just a general overview is that these articles are all about last fall, whenever Trump said that he was undoing basically the executive order of the DACA for, deferred action for
Childhood.
arrivals, that's it, deferred action for childhood arrivals program, claiming that Obama didn't have the executive authority to actually enact this without Congress's approval. So one article is just declaring that this is what's happening. The other two articles are specifically about Trump talking to Democrats to get it passed because Republicans weren't exactly forthcoming with, or weren't exactly optimistic about passing any kind of immigration. So knowing that general information, I think we probably all remember that being in the news. How would you code, what kind of codes would you come up with for these articles? How would you look at it?
Look at the negativity or positivity of words.
Okay. So a good way that you can do that is by specifying maybe perception, and then you can custom color it. So just go with a blue, submit, and then you can create what's called a child code. And under child codes, so now we have perception as what's called a parent code. And then we create a child code using the plus sign under perception. And we will say negative. Maybe make that a red coding color. And then create another child code and say positive. Okay, does that make sense? At the moment? Okay, and I'll show you what we'll do with those whenever you go into the media. Any other codes that you guys would relate to looking at articles with Trump and the Democrats, or Trump and the Republicans, or Trump and DACA?
Citation of facts.
Okay. So the cool thing about if you were to do citation of facts, you can enable a weighting system to this of maybe more or less how factual you feel that this article or a specific statement is. So in your description, you could say degree to which statement reflects facts. And you can make the weight minimum maybe a 1, the weight maximum a 5, and make the default weight a 1. So if you don't specify, but you click citation of facts as a code, then it will automatically weight it at a 1.
Does that have to be at the beginning of the description?
You don't have to. That's all for you and your coding, because you can do individuals or you can do teams in these. So it would just be entirely how objective your team how your team would refer to these codes. Yeah.
So this 1 to 5 is 5 would be many citations.
Would be what?
Would be the article uses many citations, and 1 would be that it uses less citations, or how?
Well, again, honestly, that could be how would you read it, since technically this is an individual project. The way I interpreted that to be is how factual, because
How many facts do you have? How much fact-based?
Well, specifically, whenever it comes to coding, you assign it to specific excerpts in the article. So yeah, you could just highlight the whole article and assign a weight to it of if it's less factual at a 1 or very factual at a 5. Or you could choose to highlight individual excerpts and say this is this is factual and this is more opinion based. So like this is more factual, 5, this is less, this is more opinion-based, 0.
Mhm.
Does that make?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's entirely how you as an individual working on this project want to code it, or how you and your team want to code it, and that's the value of the description, is that it triggers for you to explain to others what this code means. Okay. Okay. Cool. Any other root codes? I might put, I think if it were me, I would possibly say parties, like the mention of parties.
Mhm.
We make that orange. And then as a child code under political parties, I would specify this is related to Democrats. And this is related to Republicans. And then again, just choose your color, whatever.
Laura, would you mind going over the codes that you put in again?
Yeah, absolutely. So far we have a citation of facts, which is a weighted code. So whenever the process will go and analyze it, let me see if I can go back into edit code. So whenever this gets analyzed later based on how you code your excerpts, it'll weight the value of the excerpts as well. This one is, so it's citation of facts. We added a description for how I would interpret this and how I'm going to apply this code to the text. And then you just click enable tag weighting, and then a weight minimum, a maximum, and a default. So there's an option for you to specify how much weight you would assign to this. Otherwise, it just weights at a 1. Let's say
Why are the child code showing up
under political parties,
Yeah.
because I did that, or it automatically did that.
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's just collapsed. But say, okay. Okay, so say I had messed up because whenever I was learning this, I forgot how to do child codes by, adding it here. And so say you wanted to do a political party and do Democrat, but you added it here and you made it a root code. You can really easily just go in, edit the existing code and say reparent, and then put it back under political parties. And then that successfully links your code back to the parent code. Any more questions about code, how to create coding, or say maybe you go in and you think that it's something doesn't really work as a child code so much as it should be its own. You can just make it a root code or a parent code on its own, and then it shows up like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can you pull back up your parent list, your parent child list?
Yes. So they're all right here, down in the corner. I wish I can't exactly make it stand out, but it's all of these, and I'm going to go back and make this. I'm going to reparent this one.
So the root code and parent code is the same thing?
Yes, root code and parent code are the same thing. Okay. So we have citation of facts, which is a weighted code. We have perception as negative or positive. And then we have political parties, Democrats and Republican. So with that, we can go in and we can just start coding. We'll just start with the shortest one. I don't want to make you guys stay here all day reading and coding. So you might just go through, say this first one, President Trump and congressional Democratic leaders. So there's your first example of citation of facts and mention of political parties. So highlight the statement. You want to add code. And you just select the quick code that you want to attribute to the statement. So just double click citation of facts and close. Within the same excerpt that you've already highlighted, you can attribute multiple codes to it. Re-highlight this statement, add code, and you can add, say, perception as well. Also, because that was an extremely factual statement, you might weight it as a 5. Yes?
After the highlight, how do I apply it to the code?
So highlight, right click, add code.
Okay. Thank you.
You can also add memos. I think that isn't a tool that I've messed around with a whole lot. I think it's just for you to kind of extract, maybe write to the side things you want to mention.
So memos as well work really well if you're a team working on one document at the same time. So for example, say Laura codes something under positive sentiment or positive attitude. She can say, this is why, she can add a memo and say, I thought that this qualified as a positive sentiment because, so that if you as a team member maybe have some sort of disagreement about whether that should be the right code or not, you can look and see what she used as a basis for that decision.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you.
When applying the codes also, you can highlight the statement and then go down to the codes area and double click on the one that you want to add.
Yes.
This another way.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Yes.
it's essentially like a comment that you can insert.
Yeah, like in a Google Doc, like just comment off to the side what you think of it. And then there is a memos tab here, so you can go back and see, obviously there's no memos, but say we wanted to create one, add memo, clearly refers to an event that occurs. So, save, exit, and then go to excerpts, and then you can see what the excerpt was and what the memo type.
So it's in your excerpt.
Yeah. There we go. Does that make sense? Okay, I think I took the long way to get there, but okay. So then back to, yes.
Okay, so how do you again change the value of the perception?
So the value of perception, we were in the USA Today one. You go here, just click on the code, and you see how it pops up on this side, and you can change the value this way.
Okay, so maybe I do 4 out of 5. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So then within an existing excerpt or an existing excerpt that you've already coded, you can also pull out other pieces of the excerpt to code individually. So say every time they mention Democrat or Republican, we want to code that. So you could say political parties, and it specifically references Democrats. And so then you have thus coded. You have an existing excerpt which has been coded itself, and then you've coded within that excerpt as well, which you may need to do sometime.
So could you show how you add the weight one more time?
Yeah. So highlight this here, and then the weight.
Just the rate, okay.
Yeah, it's just right there. And then mention Nancy Pelosi here, so political parties, Democrats, and Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, add code, political parties, and Democrats. Okay. Let's see an example of perception, maybe.
So. How do you make it show like all the different color codes at once? Because mine is like not.
Do you apply different colors on every?
Whoa.
Yeah, if you,
Nice, so-
did you apply different colors whenever you were doing the
Yeah.
coding?
But then after I like coded all of that,
Uh-huh.
it still just shows up as one blob of red.
Did you click away from it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure, that's not a
Yeah,
problem.
when I click on the little things to the left,
Yeah.
then it shows me the different codes that I did, but then if I just click outside of it, it won't show me like all of the different codes.
Okay. I'm really sorry. I don't know why it wouldn't show all of the colors. Do you know,
What
Taryn?
wouldn't show the colors?
Yeah.
It's okay.
of the
I'll
individual
figure it out
blobs.
later, no worries.
Okay. That's not something I've come up against. So, discussion focused on DACA, the recently revoked Oklahoma era measure that allows youngsters who arrived in the country undocumented to receive deferred action on eligibility. So then for this, you might put citation of facts, weight it at a 4. Sarah Huckabee Sanders said, while DACA and border security were both discussed, excluding the wall certainly was not agreed to. I would assign that a negative code or like a negative perception. Maybe if I were working in a team with you guys, I would create a memo saying the specific inclusion of the word certainly not agreed to implies, I think, a level of mood or feelings about it. That's just what I would put in a memo. Okay. So if you were to code all of these documents, then you would just go ahead and, so to fast, are there any other questions about coding? Okay.
Are there any other features that you know of that would be helpful?
None that I can think of or made a note to mention. Let's see, how to apply multiple codes to the same expert. Yeah. I think that's everything I can think of. Danielle or Taryn, do you have other?
For code?
Yeah.
No, nothing off the top of my head.
Okay. So I can show you guys, let's see, this is not a good. Okay, so since we only coded one document, it's kind of difficult to see how this plays out. But the other transcripts that were available in it's 2 Trump interview transcripts with the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. Just kind of to show you what I did with that, I created, how that looks whenever you're done. I created 3 parent codes. Yeah, 3 parent codes: aggressor, evasive, and preening. Like every time Trump was doing exhibiting any of these things in his interviews. And then as child codes, I had being particularly boastful or like confusing speech, or anytime he was being flat out combative or more just like defensive. So I was surprised because I kind of expected that, and it did play out this way, that, also, sorry, my descriptors, obviously Wall Street Journal was center conservative and the New York Times was center liberal. I expected that Trump would be the most defensive in the center liberal piece of the New York Times, which I did see, but I thought he would maybe be boastful more with the conservative paper, and in fact, he wasn't by my estimations. But he was extremely evasive and particularly confusing with the Wall Street. Like, he just flat out made a lot of statements that, in my perception, I was like, where did that come from? It made no sense at all in the Wall Street Journal pieces. So this is kind of what it looks like once you've, once you've just finished coding everything. This is just really a preliminary. This was me messing around with the, let me see here, set default name political view. Yeah, okay. So this isn't a particularly great example, but it at least gives you an idea of the different things that you can really do with, or what you can see with Dedoose software.
You can export the different
Yes.
analysis type.
Yes. So Dedoose chart export, save it to the desktop, and then here it is. And you could also, the descriptor set that we created for, and there you have it. The descriptor set that we created too, you can also export that, and it'll export as another Excel sheet, which can then be re-imported. Probably just need to mess around with that one a little bit to figure out what I did wrong. Any other questions? Was this helpful for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for coming.